All right, good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast, and this is episode 166. This is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, which is youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome, and visit us on Twitter at PS This Is Awesome, and we have a Tumblr site, psthisisawesome.tumblr.com. If you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PSN, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at jakesaw01. And as always, you can write the show at psthisisawesome@gmail.com. And most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends and be sure to leave comments as you see fit. For today's show, Jake and I are going to be discussing the Resident Evil Village, also known as Resident Evil 8, PS5 exclusive demo, which was called Maiden, the Dark Pictures Anthology, as well as various games we've been playing, and rounding out the show with some PlayStation news and games releasing this week. We'll also have a closing music track by the group Diende titled Prayer Song. My dear friend Carl is in this group, and he was also a punk rock brother who kindly invited my former band Signal Home on a super memorable tour back in around 2006, if I remember correctly, but his band at that time was called Last Tuesday, so stick around for that. And I also want to encourage our listeners to subscribe on our YouTube channel one more time, as this podcast is being uploaded on YouTube as a video podcast, and I've been lining up the channel so that there are new videos every day. So most of these are me reacting to new game trailers that PlayStation's putting up on YouTube, and I did put up a live reaction to the Resident Evil Village showcase that aired this past Thursday, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. Jake, how are you today?
Doing good. Just trying to prevent my computer from restarting or something stupid like that during this podcast. So
yeah,
if that doesn't happen, we'll be good.
Yeah, we'll be great.
The one thing that sucks about Windows, I know you're on a Mac, but on Windows 10, they don't really give you an option anymore when it comes to restarting for updates. Or I guess more or less, it gets to a point where it's just like, fuck you, we're installing updates regardless. So, which can be incredibly infuriating, especially if you're trying to do something at work or with something and your computer restarts, and Windows updates take like fucking 30 minutes to install. So it can be super annoying.
Right.
But other than that, totally fine.
Good. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Just got back from a grocery trip. Dude, when you go grocery shopping, let me just ask. I feel like I make 3 stops. Like where we're at, we have many grocery stores. The one joke about where we live is that there are a lot of there's like a lot of fast food, a lot of grocery stores, and a lot of bars and a lot of churches. And like there's really nothing else to do here except for those things. But we have an Aldi, we have a Giant Eagle, we have a Tops, we have a Walmart, and I want to say we have something else too.
Well, there's Valesky's.
Yeah, we have Valesky's. Which I don't support for my own reasons, but yeah, I mean, we have so many grocery stores, and not to mention like the 16 Rite Aids and CVS's and
Dollar Generals,
Walgreens, Dollar Generals. It's really ridiculous. But so, anyways, when I go out grocery shopping, like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get everything I can at Aldi first because all that stuff is like relatively cheaper than everywhere else. At least I feel like it is, right? So I'll do that, and then. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my screen here real quick. There's a little bit of something weird going on here. But anyways, yeah, I'll shut up. We'll quit messing with the awesome YouTube live stream thing that we're doing. It's not even live stream, but it is something. But what I was saying was, is it's like one of those things where like I'll go to Aldi, I'll pick up what I want to pick up, and then I'll be like, well, you know what? They didn't really have a good selection of green peppers, or I couldn't find the oil I wanted. So the way that the highway goes is that I'm coming up the hill, right? So Aldi's on my right. If I go up just a little bit further on the right, it's Walmart. So, but if I go to Giant Eagle, I got to cross traffic and go back. So then I'll just hit Walmart up, and then I'll go look at their crap. And sidebar, I picked up some cassette tapes at Walmart. Did you know I just lost you.
Yeah, you just keep talking. I just got to figure out. I switched cameras, and I think this camera has a 15-minute timeout on it or something. So I just got to change.
You're using your GoPro right now?
Fucking shut off in the middle of the. Yeah, I was trying something new.
See, this is what the audio listeners miss out on. They miss out on all this cool, crazy stuff we're trying to pull off here. It's like launching a spaceship. It really is. You see my computer screen. I'm trying to. I've got like. I literally have the Zoom call up, I have OBS up, and then I have because the way my camera works is there is no straight, it doesn't, the computer doesn't identify it as a camera source. So I had to download this EOS utility thing from my Canon, it's a T3i Rebel, and I am live viewing what the camera is seeing and then grabbing that as a window capture to pull into OBS. So and then you got the sound stuff going on top of that. So, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous what we do to make this work. Excuse me. But anyways, long story short, I have a system to get my groceries, right? And it's just nice to have food. It's good to have food. And we were going to do the podcast a little bit earlier today. It is Saturday. This is going to air on Monday. But I ate, so I feel good. Not a lot of snow right now. It snowed a lot Friday, but that's about it. I woke up this morning and I ran. I've been trying to get back into running. So I only did like a mile and a half on the treadmill, but it's not bad. It's better than nothing. So I feel charged right now.
Yeah, I think I fixed the camera thing, by the way, so that shouldn't happen again. There's an auto off every 15 minutes, and I changed it to never. So unless my battery dies, we should be fine.
Cool.
But
I might just edit that little glitch thing out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what you were saying about Aldi is Aldi is a double-edged sword, only in that it's, in my opinion, the best place to buy groceries.
I'm showing the listeners real quick. I don't mean to interrupt, but this is our PlayStation mug.
From
PS
Zazzle.
Is awesome. Yeah, you can get these on Zazzle probably still, zazzle.com if you're interested. Go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
So Aldi is the best place to buy groceries, but they never have everything you need. So no matter what,
no, you're right.
Unless you alter what you need based on what Aldi has, you always have to go to a second location, and usually they build Aldis right beside Walmart's. So you end up going to Walmart after you go to Aldi, because it's the same way.
Yeah,
it's the same. There's two places where I go buy groceries, and it's the same in both locations. Aldi is like next door to Walmart, so you just fucking hit up Aldi. You get your shit for super cheap. It sucks that Aldi doesn't have everything. I don't know if everybody
it's so
that's listening
affordable
to this. I don't know if
maybe they don't even have
Aldi. Aldi. People might not all have Aldi, but the thing is you might have a comparable store. Literally, I could buy what would at Walmart be $100 worth of groceries at Aldi
$40
for it's not that cheap, but it's usually like maybe $60. It's like maybe 50-60% of the cost of Walmart.
And it's good food insane. Too.
And they typically have good produce, good meat, good deli selection, like cheeses. They have all these like interesting cheeses and things like that there.
Yes.
They've got a bunch of good like frozen shit. But they got like a really interesting like bread selection. You can usually get stuff like naan and stuff like that there, which is not always available at
pitas and stuff. Yeah, stuff that is a little harder to find.
But it's just, you go there and it's like, oh, well, I need fucking, fat-free something. And it's like, oh, well, they don't sell that because that's not like super they basically, their canned goods stuff is like super generic. So unless it's like cream of mushroom or something like that, and you're making a recipe, typically you're missing something. So you got to go to a different store.
Yeah.
But this is not the Aldi podcast, so we could probably continue on.
Well, let's move on with the video game talk, because we've been lectured about it one too many times, which was maybe just one time. But as noted in the introduction for today's show, we were graced with the Resident Evil Village Showcase this past Thursday. Jake, I got to say, I think this was a great showcase. I have a few things I'd like to discuss with you specifically, but before I get into those topics, do you have any general opinion about this showing?
The showcase was a little bit derpy in sections, but overall I think it was very well done. Like, it wasn't super cheesy or anything like that. Sometimes, especially recently, when companies have tried to do these like video game showcase special event thingies, like sometimes they can be super like over the top, or they're trying too hard, or a little bit derpy or whatever. This one was actually relatively good. I don't know that they needed, I think the derpiest part about it was I don't think they needed the host girl that did it.
There's something about her though. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I I listen to other gaming podcasts, and people seem to be really excited for her that she was part of this. So, like, I don't know what her history is with Resident Evil, or if she's like a horror kind of gamer, or she, you know, that transitioned into this thing with Capcom, or like she's like showcasing their game now and talking about it and getting people excited. I don't know. I don't know anything about her, but I think she has some history with horror video games, I think.
Well, that's great. I mean, I'm all about, you know, I'm not saying that like
I could be wrong.
I'm not saying that like she personally was bad. I'm just saying that nowadays with things like Sony's state of play things where it's just like bang, 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 like trailers and this and that. And there's not like some overlord host in between every single video going like, Overlord. That was cool. Now let's look at this guy. And it's like, okay.
Let's
like,
smash cut and talk to the director real quick.
Right. It's fine. It's fine. It's just, I don't think it's necessary anymore.
She played the role of like the MC, right?
But I feel like that's such a stupid thing to really critique. I don't want to say to like critique, because the showcase overall was very good. There's some stuff that like the RE-verse thing, like I couldn't give two shits less about that.
Well, I got a list of topics here for us to pick apart. You want to do that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good showcase. So first topic is that they announced that Resident Evil Village is going to be made available on the PS4 as well as PS5, and it will release on the same schedule. The release date they gave us was May 7th, 2021, so that's this summer. But one has to speculate whether this has been the plan the entire time, or if this release date that they've chosen is a direct result of needing to make sure it runs on the PS4 smoothly. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting the game to come out until like October or something, so it's totally fine with me. I mean, if they can make it, I feel like they are not going to pull a CD Projekt and release a shit game, so I'm sure that it's gonna. It's probably. I mean, they did. It's the same engine that they used to do the previous last few titles, so I think that it's going to be fine. And I was a little bit concerned whenever I saw that announcement that they were going to be releasing it on last gen versions as well, last gen consoles as well. But then I actually, and we'll talk about this in detail in a little bit, but when I actually played the Maiden Demo on PS5 and saw how good it fucking looks, I didn't really care anymore. You know what I mean? Because I thought they were maybe going to hold it back, put it on the old consoles, but
clearly they didn't.
Next gen version looks so good.
Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, and I think that's
okay with it.
That's part of the reason about that. So we'll get to that in a second. But the second topic here, Jake, that I had, these are just brief little bullet points under this whole showcase that we got, because this was kind of exciting. You've been a Resident Evil fan longer than I have, but I have enjoyed Resident Evil. So second topic that I have here is that the website for the game gives us a little backstory on what Resident Evil 8 is actually going to be about, more than what they actually said on the showcase. So on the website, it says it's set a few years after the horrifying events in Resident Evil 7. The all-new storyline begins with Ethan Winters and his wife, Mia, living peacefully in a new location, free from their past nightmares. Just as they are building their new life together, tragedy befalls them once again when BSAA Captain Chris Redfield attacks their home. Ethan must once again head into hell to get his kidnapped daughter back. So it sounds like Chris Redfield kidnaps his daughter, the character's daughter or something.
Yeah, I remember when they first announced Resident Evil Village, which is going to be really hard for me to say, because I just want to say Resident Evil 8, but
you can say Resident Evil 8. We can just call it that because it's what it is.
I think it's a neat play on word, or like play on. I don't even play on words is the right way to say it, but Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8, like they work well together. But when they first announced it during that PlayStation showcase thing for the PS5, there was this impression, if they didn't out and out say, that Chris Redfield was going to be kind of a bad guy in this, or at least they implied that he is, because he like shows up and just totally fucking jacks you up in the original trailer
Why would he be bad though? That's what I don't
understand. Know. That's the thing, is that I'm not sure. That's but that's what the speculation was about whenever the trailer first launched, and whenever that was. I think it was September or August when they did that reveal thing. I think it was September because I was on the road for work when they did this. But I'm curious. I'm definitely curious to see where they're going with it, because Chris Redfield has historically always been, if not a protagonist, then at least a ally or a good guy in the Resident Evil universe. So I'm curious to see if he is actually a bad guy, or if he has some ulterior motives that are actually benevolent in some way, or if he's being coerced by the bad guys in some fashion, or maybe he's brainwashed, or maybe he's been infected somehow. I don't know, but it definitely makes for an interesting kind of splash as far as what the story is going to be.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. I think I have some speculation that maybe while Mia was captured, she was somehow impregnated, and it's not Ethan's baby. You think? You're talking about in Resident Evil 7.
Yeah,
and they're living happily ever after, but it turns out that it's not actually her baby. It's some sort of demon baby that they don't know, and Chris Redfield's trying to take it back because something's weird about it. And then
the only thing about that statement that makes me, the only thing about that would be an interesting concept for sure. That would be a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes me think that that's not the case is that you just said it takes place 3 years after Resident Evil 7. In which case, why would it still be an infant?
3? It says a few years. Yeah, a few usually means 3.
So if it's, I guess if it's maybe a couple years after, then maybe the baby's only. But it looked like they're implying that it's an infant still, which means that if it's a few years later, the timeline doesn't really line up.
It's
but
weird,
they
though.
may
It's a
just
neat
be
idea.
playing with it a little bit.
If
that is the case, if that is the case, that would be really interesting.
That'd
for
be kinda
sure.
cool. All right, third topic, Jake. The combat is going to feature a blocking mechanic.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know how I feel about
It's
it.
weird.
But at the same time, I didn't really.
They gotta
I
do
wasn't
something,
really.
right?
I wasn't really into the idea of the first person change on Resident Evil 7, and I ended up loving that.
There's probably a stamina meter now if there's blocking, or else you could just infinitely block, right? There's got to be a stamina.
Or it could just be one of those things like in other games where the animation takes a certain amount of time. So like you can't just keep mashing the block button. It's like
Right.
if you're holding off an enemy, some other guys can come over and kick the shit
Or
out of
maybe
you.
you can't be armed and block at the same time.
Right. They probably made it, some gameplay aspect of it prevents you from being able to block all the time, because it would be really bizarre for them to put a stamina meter in there. Although I guess maybe they will. I don't know.
It's hard to say. All right, fourth topic that I wanted to bring up, fourth little bullet point, was that there's no word of VR, but perhaps with them announcing that it's going to be available on the PS4, could we still see a VR version of Resident Evil Village?
I doubt it.
Do you
They may announce some kind of like DLC portion or maybe extra level or something that's VR, but they're not going to make this entire. I'm pretty sure they already said that the whole game is not going to be VR.
Yeah. It's
like
not something you
Resident
can
Evil
just
7
patch
was.
in. So
No, and I think that just with the boost in fidelity from the last game to the new game, I don't think that it's going to be feasible for them to be able to do it in VR.
yeah,
Interesting the story. I have you used your VR with your PS5 yet? Because I have not.
No,
mostly because I never bought the camera adapter or ordered it.
no, I haven't. We can take an aside real quick and talk about that. I wanted to, and I was going to pick up that game, Detached, or it was called Adrift or Detached. They're both games. One of them is like literally a space game where you're just floating around. It was on sale for $5, and a lot of these games come with these warnings. They're like, "Hey, it may cause dizziness," but all the reviews I've read, they're like, "No, this fucking feels like you're in outer space." And it was on sale for $5.
I know Adrift was one like that where it.
Yeah, they were both kind of like that. Yeah.
I don't know I don't know if I've even looked at Detached, but I know Adrift was one that came out, and I remember when it first came out on the PC versions of it, it was VR supported. But on the console versions, it initially, at least initially, there was no VR support.
Then I'm talking about detached, because this was made for VR. Okay. Detached. And the thing is, I didn't pick it up, and I literally I had it in my cart, and now it's on my wish list on the PSN, but I wanted to get it. But then I started thinking, I was like, I heard Blood and Truth is really, really good now on PSVR. If you're playing it on a PS5, and I also have this role-playing game where it's like you put characters like on the map, and it's weird. It's all 3D, but it's an actual role-playing story game, and it's really interesting. So I never finished it, and I wanted to plug it in, but then I realized that I have the OG PS VR, so the Breakout box will not allow the HDR support or the special fancy shit. So anytime I want to use it, I'm going to have to unplug it from the back of my fucking TV in my PlayStation and rewire a hardwire HDMI cable to my TV because I have the old version. So, no, I haven't. I haven't plugged it in yet.
You could
get a Switch.
I was going to say you could get a splitter, right? Yeah. And you could run.
But that's going to be pricey if you want to run 2.1 HDMI through a splitter. Like, you just almost don't even want to risk it. You know what I mean? And then you got to worry about lag and shit. And it's just like, why can't they just... I don't know. It is what it is. Anyways.
I don't think you would have lag issues with a splitter. You would have lag issues probably with a Switch. But with a splitter, it's literally just... They just take the signal path and it's on two wires as opposed to on one wire. So you shouldn't have any lag issues with a splitter. The splitter itself might be expensive if you want a splitter that supports 2.1 because it has to be a special type of cable. But I don't know. I mean, but then you would have to have two HDMI inputs on your television. Yeah. So you switch to one if you want to use regular PS5. You switch to the other if you want to use fucking VR.
It just seems like too much of a hassle, right? Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is eventually just plug it in and just make a day of it and just get these games beaten. Try them out.
They just made it basically so that I will never play PSVR on my PS5. I mean, that's essentially what it boils down. PSVR has always been one of those things for me where it's too tedious. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't as tedious, I would use it a lot more often.
But it's even more tedious now.
But now it's like I'm not going to be fucking unplugging shit from the back of my cable.
Here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that I learned is that they tell you that the DualSense does not have the same tracking implementations that the DualShock 4 has. So if you're going to play your PSVR on your PS5, they say you still need to use the DualShock 4. So now you have to have a DualShock 4 synced to your PS5. It just seems like it's just too much fucking work. Like, I don't know.
Either that or the Move controllers, if you have a game that supports those instead, you could use those. Which most of the time, I guess when you're playing VR, you're probably going to use the Move controllers anyway.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, fifth topic. They indicated as a way to preserve all the Resident Evil characters, they are giving RE Verse, which is a clever name, and a new game to everyone who purchases Resident Evil 8. This will be a survival horror deathmatch game, which actually sounds to me kind of interesting if it's free. I mean, I'll probably try it, but I mean, how good is it going to be?
It's one of those things where it could be worst case scenario, it'll be a fine game, but nobody will play it. Best case scenario is that it will be like one of these, unexpected hits because it's got some interesting concepts. Namely, like if you watch the video, where they talk about it, it's got a lot of not only does it have the main characters from the game, but also a lot of the demons and monsters as well. So there was like one shot where it looked like one of the characters died. And then after they died, they turned into a monster and then were like hunting people.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And if that's the case, like it could be really interesting if they play with that concept and make it like kind of a unique experience. But if it's just literally a plain Jane deathmatch with the fucking RE characters, nobody's going to play it. I'm not going to play it, probably regardless. But
sure,
if that's all it is a generic deathmatch, like it's not going to outcompete everything that's already out there.
All right.
So, and it's got this weird cel-shaded aesthetic to it, which is I don't understand. Like, why didn't they just leave the fucking
regular characters?
Because it looks like they're using the kind of point of view and the control scheme and everything from Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remake, and why not just keep it with the OG graphic set? Why are you fucking making everything cell shaded? Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. That it just makes it look kind of cartoony and weird. And I don't know. I don't know. Could be, like I said, I think it's going to be fine. At least it'll be good, but I don't know how many people are going to play it.
Well, there are a lot of really cool characters in the Resident Evil games, so it's kind of cool. It's a neat way for them to preserve them, like they said. So we got 2 more quick topics about the Resident Evil showcase. We're going to get on with the news. 6th topic I had here was that the Division 2 is going to be cross-promoting with Resident Evil 8, which is kind of weird. But you can now get gear in the Division 2 that are Raccoon City outfits and gear, like all the SWAT material, the police uniforms and stuff for the Division 2. But I do want to pause and just say that the Division 2 was such a good game. I know that we messed around with it a little bit, but that game was actually really, really good. I really enjoyed it. But anyway, so I powered it on this morning to see how to get that gear, and for some reason, like, the PSTI clan I'm part of now isn't called PSTIA, so someone must have, like, leveled up over the clan and, like, renamed it or something. It's called, like, Yeez or something. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's really weird because I got in and it was like, what? And then we had all these clan upgrades and stuff, so I don't even know what happened, but I got in there and I couldn't figure out how to get the Resident Evil gear. I heard that if you just log in during this cross-promotion thing, it just gets put into your inventory, but maybe you have to go to your stash, whatever. 7th topic, Maiden, the PS5 exclusive demo was released, which is it's not even Resident Evil 8, but it's in the world of Resident Evil 8, and it takes place in some of the same locales, I think, but there's no combat. They made it very specific that they weren't going to put any combat in this game, but it was still creepy, man. It looked really good. You played it, right? We both played it?
Yeah, I played it this morning, and I believe that it does take place in the castle from Resident Evil Village. So
okay, like
I think that's kind of the idea. Is it's like a visual demo, right? They're giving you
in the sound.
They're giving you like the sights and sounds of the game, so you can get kind of a feel for what it's going to look and feel like and sound like whenever you're playing it. And boy, is it awesome!
It's spooky.
And yeah, I was expecting the whole time I'm playing it for some shit to like jump out and kill me or whatever, which is probably going to happen in the main game, but in the demo, it's pretty much just an exploration thing. There is kind of some dangery stuff that happens towards the end of it, but none of it is. It's mostly like light puzzles.
Can you die? Can you die in it? I didn't die.
I didn't die either, but I don't know if you can or not, to be honest with you. There's that one part where you're getting attacked, and I don't know if you can die or not. Maybe you can, but I will say that it looks great on the PS5. I will say that I'm probably going to have to play this game at night because I was playing it this morning. I had all the lights off.
Yeah.
But I have my PlayStation and my gaming TV in my living room, which is an addition, and my addition is like all windows. So in the darker sections, because I have HDR enabled, which makes it look way better, in the darker sections, it's fucking almost impossible for me to see what's going on.
Right, yeah, I have a similar issue.
And I don't want to jack up the brightness and make it look worse because it looks so good.
Yeah.
So probably going to end up just playing when the game comes out. I might actually boot the demo back up tonight whenever everything is dark and turn all the lights off and play it just to see what it looks like. But I think it's going to look awesome.
Yeah, not a bad idea, man. Not a bad idea at all. Yeah, I really enjoyed the demo. Like we both said, there's nothing really that like you played and you're like, oh my god, that was amazing. But you're like, yeah, it makes me have a little faith in this game that they're going to deliver on it. So that was cool. So enough Resident Evil talk. Other news, Jake. I'm breaking the promise real quick. Last episode I said we weren't going to talk about Cyberpunk, but I do want to let the listeners know who are battling with this game and trying to get through it that patch 1.10 is finally out on the PlayStation 4 Pro for the PS5. PlayStation 4 game essentially. But what it does, according to CD Projekt Red, is it's a huge stability upgrade Two of the specific PlayStation updates include performance optimization of crowds on the PS4 Pro and the PS5, which means maybe more people walking around, and then they fixed a lot of crashes that were occurring. So that's kind of nice that happened. We don't need to talk any more about Cyberpunk. I just had to throw it out there because that was actually kind of important. People were waiting for that. So did you happen to see that the price of Xbox Live Gold is now double the cost of PlayStation Plus?
I saw that it was going up, but I didn't see what it was going to. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I better go on there and fucking cancel my subscription.
Yeah,
because I literally only use it for Game Pass, and I only play Game Pass every now and again when I don't have something to play on my PlayStation. So I think I'm going to fucking just...
It's going to be like $120 a year or something.
Yeah, fuck that. Especially because I don't play anything online on my Xbox. Like I said, only Game Pass.
Yeah. So, can you buy Game Pass separate or no?
I think so. I think you can. But that I wouldn't be surprised if the price of that went up too. But I don't know.
Yeah. There's speculation that people are saying, well, now Sony has every reason and right to be able to raise the price of PS Plus. And honestly, I can't imagine that they're going to. I mean, they make so much money, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of know how well Sony's doing right now. I never felt like it was necessary to say anything, but I do hold some stocks, Sony stock, and like, dude, I have like doubled my investment in the last year. So like doubled.
Yeah.
Like they're making hand over fist money, Sony. So there's no reason for them to raise the cost of PS Plus. It's just going to deter people from getting it, I think.
Well,
if they raise it to
the stock price doesn't have any real comparison to how well the company's doing, especially in a year like 2020 where everything is going up.
But here's the thing. Like if they say they raise it to 120, right, for PS Plus, are you gonna do it still? Dude, a fucking game's gonna cost like $70 now. Like I don't know. And the games they've been giving us on PS Plus really haven't really done much for me, if I'm being honest. Like,
I've got enough disposable income that I probably would still pay it, just because it would be more convenient than not paying it. But I definitely would think more before actually spending the money on PlayStation Plus. I don't think that they're gonna go. They might increase the price, but they're not gonna go to 120. I mean, Xbox Live Gold includes Xbox Live and Game Pass. So
I'm not sure what Xbox Live is.
So Xbox Live
is that like PlayStation Now?
So no, Xbox Live is PlayStation Plus. It's your ability to play games online and do all that kind of stuff. You get so many games free every month, just like PlayStation Plus. But Xbox Live Gold also includes Game Pass. So, and obviously somebody's going to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that that's true. So $120 a year not only gets you all the shit PlayStation Plus gives you as far as equivalency goes, but it also gets you arguably, you could say, like, imagine if for $120 you got PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now all year. That's kind of what it's like. Now, Games Pass is way better than PlayStation Now, but that's if you had to compare them apples to oranges, that's how you would compare them.
Sure.
So if you were to get PlayStation Plus and PS Now for a year for $120, it wouldn't be a horrible price.
Okay. Fair enough.
Would I be happy about that? Probably not.
No one likes stuff getting increased in price like that, especially when I mean, they already increased it recently. It used to be $50, and now what is it, 60? I think
it is
PlayStation
$60. I mean, I don't think it was recently that they did that. I think it's been a couple years.
Yeah, it's been like 2 years, but they did increase it. So to do it again, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna. Time will tell. I don't know. I just thought I'd bring it up on the show. Hey, you were a big fan of Bug Snacks, Jake, and apparently they are not yet done with the releasing content for the game. So, Young Horses came out and said that they still have some plans for it. I don't know if it's going to be DLC or what they're going to do, but, I mean, is that a game you'll see yourself ever jumping back into? Didn't you platinum that?
They did, yeah. Now, they did kind of leave it sort of cliffhanger-y at the end of the game, right? So I could see them maybe doing like an extra... Sure. Yeah, I could see them maybe doing like an extra episode or something like that kind of finishes the story, or maybe just tells a little bit more, or maybe it's a side story. Maybe it's honestly, what would be cool is if the additional content was kind of like The Last of Us did, and it's a prequel to the story of Bugsnax, where like when the original characters get to the island, not when you as the reporter get to the island. So before all the shit goes down, how the town gets separated, all that kind of stuff. That would be a cool kind of DLC story for them to tell, and I'd probably play that. I mean, it's a neat game to kind of play, as just to relax, where you don't have to think, you just kind of wander around and do stuff.
Right.
But I did not see that, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that as far as like the cliffhanger goes, they just make a Bugsnax 2 at some point.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But I don't know.
Yeah, with a smaller studio like that, I mean, who knows what they're going to do. Genshin Impact's getting another update. I'd love to have Seth, Seth's my brother, come onto the show at some point to discuss Genshin with him. I'm going to try to make that happen. But yeah, I was playing that for a little bit on the PS4. You didn't really play too much of it either, did you?
I played maybe 2 or 3 hours of it, and then it just... Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Right.
It doesn't... I know you put a lot more time into it than I did, but it's got a lot of those free to play systems, and it's probably one of the best ones you can get, but there's just something about it that just didn't jive with me as far as the whole combat system or the way the world works or whatever. And especially after I got Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is comparable as far as the gameplay kind of style goes,
right?
And they compare both of those games to Breath of the Wild a lot, and I would say that Immortals is a much better game as far as what I've played.
Yeah,
and
it's also not a mobile game,
right? And it's not crammed full of that fucking multiplayer shit too, which is
it can be off-putting.
Genshin,
yeah. Well, the Genshin thing is interesting, and the more I think about it, Jake, I feel like you and I are not, our podcast is pretty decent, but we don't really, I'll speak for myself, but I don't feel like I have a lot of RPG experience, like role-playing game experience. I don't play a lot of games like that. A lot of these, to me, they're like esoteric, strange games that like just require so much time. The Final Fantasy is about it. Final Fantasy and The Witcher. And, I can't even remember the last time I played a role-playing game, like a traditional JRPG. I don't know. I don't know when I've done it. Like, I don't really play that style of game. And it would be cool to have someone who knows a little bit about that stuff come on the show and talk about it. I don't know about you, but I don't think he's interested, just to throw that out there also. I think he has zero interest in doing it. But it would be nice to have someone who has a little bit of... more valid input, so to speak, or more experience with that style of game for the show. But
I do like. Here's my relationship with JRPGs. I like them as a concept. Most of the time, I don't have the patience to learn the systems.
Yeah.
So I would love to play some of these games, even like Final Fantasy Tactics, like War of the Lions on the Vita. I just got to the point where like I didn't want to take the time to master the game to be able to play it. Having to do all this inventory and character management and all that stuff. I hate like all these RPGs now where you have a party of characters and you have to outfit each character individually, and there's no option for you to like auto outfit them. Like a lot of games recently have been good about, if you have a party, you can select to have everybody but your main character just be sort of auto leveled and auto outfitted with the best gear.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of pay attention to your main character and you don't have to manage everybody.
You just enjoy the game. Yeah.
Right. But they give you the option to do it manually too if you want. And I think that's a great way to go about it. But some of these JRPGs are just like, they're hardcore. They're like, you do everything. You have to manage everything. You have to watch all the stats. You have to build your character classes. And especially a game like Tactics where you can have 5, 6, 7, 8 characters at a time you got to fuck with like this. Like it's a lot. And so that's my biggest beef with the RPG scene as far as JRPGs go. I just don't have the patience. It's not that I don't like it or that I don't want to get into it. I just don't have
the learning curve is a little too much because all those games have different mechanics, like you said. Now, the reason I bring that up too is because I jumped into Final Fantasy X2 because I bought that what do you even call that? It's like a duo game. Like you get Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2 in one purchase. What the hell are they calling it?
It was just a remastered bundle. I mean,
sure, it's a bundle. That's what I meant to say. I couldn't find the word. Thank you. So I got that, and I forgot I had X-2, and I started playing it. And I was like, man, like I don't. There's just so much shit to it. There's just so much, and the game. There's some difficulty spikes that come out of nowhere. I'm trying to get this second sphere or whatever, and I'm kicking ass, and I'm my party. I feel like we're doing really good, and I feel like I'm on the right trajectory where like I'm the right level for the area. And then I get to this sphere. It's just the second one. You're supposed to collect a ton of these for the first act or whatever. I get to the second one, and I've already kind of got the notion that a bad guy's going to pop out when I try to get the second sphere, and I get it, the bad guy. Now all my characters have like 450 HP or something, and like he'll do like an attack all maneuver or attack, and he hits all of my characters for like 250 points, and it's just like that's more than half my life. Now why did the game allow me to even get to this guy easily? Like I got to him easily, very easily, and then I finally got to him, and he just like decimates my crew, and it's like, okay, great, now my save point is like right here. Now I gotta backtrack like 40 minutes to get back to where I need to go so that I can maybe go grind some more, because I'm in this huge long cave, right? And it's just like, why? Is it just because it's outdated, or is that just how those games are? Like, I don't know. It was just frustrating. I was enjoying it up until then.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty antiquated sort of mechanic, but unfortunately, the grindiness is just kind of a part of it.
Yeah,
you kind like I had a similar issue with Final Fantasy VI, which now we're going way back if we're talking about Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
But I was playing that on the Vita and on the PS3, and you get to this place, and people that are familiar with Final Fantasy will know about the floating continent, and you get there, and it's just fucking impossible. So basically, what I'd have to do is at the beginning of the floating continent is a save point. So essentially, I'd have my characters be sort of a certain level, and then I would kind of just walk back and forth right beside the save point until it would trigger a battle, fight a battle, then immediately save after every battle. And I would just do that for fucking hours.
It just shit pisses me off.
Until I was able to just get through the floating continent section, and then back towards, and then all that stuff goes away, and then you're back to your whatever. But yeah, it's just, I'll be honest, like, I don't mind doing the grinding things whenever I am just looking for something to just kind of play and not think while I'm doing it. It's something I can do to just kind of keep myself busy for the evening or something is fine, but it's not something, like, that's not something that I want to do with my main gaming time. If I sit down to play video games, which lately I've been averaging about 30 minutes a day playing video games. So if I got to play a game like that, it's going to take me 3 or 4 months to beat it. So it's like I get it, and I like it in certain contexts, but it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, hey, we went a little bit out of order with what we normally do for the show, so let me ask you a little bit. What are you playing right now? Because normally we would talk about this before we get into the news. That's all I had for the news. But what are you playing?
Nothing's changed. I'm still playing Immortals. Like I said, right now I've been averaging about 30 minutes a day. So I think since the last time we recorded this podcast, I've played maybe another 5 or 6 hours. Like, I think I just logged, I'm at like 21 and a half hours or something like that. And I'm on the second god out of 4. So that, I wouldn't say that necessarily means that I'm halfway through the game, because the second god, like, it took me 15 hours to get through the first one, and the second one, it has taken me like 6, and I'm almost to the end of it. So I don't think that it's going to take me as long to get the other two, and I think it'll kind of all sort of come together pretty quickly. But I know that, like, even a lot of reviewers were saying like 30 to 40 hours to beat the game, which to me is fine. Other than the fact that I have so many fucking games to play, and we're getting to the point where, I'm not even going to be remotely close to done with my backlog before Returnal comes out. And I think there's even something coming out this month. I don't remember what it is, but I don't know if it's something that I was interested in playing. Oh, that's right. Cyber Shadow is coming out, which looks great.
Yeah.
But I've just been playing that, other than I played the Maiden demo this morning, which as soon as I played it, I was like, fuck, I can't wait for this game to come out. Yeah. And it's coming out in May, which something else is coming out in May too.
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was.
The Bethesda one.
Oh, that one. Bullet.
No.
Bullet legs. God.
Bullet legs.
Well, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what game are you talking about?
It's the arcane one where you're on the island
and you're trying to beat everybody
within an Deathloop. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.
I had to Google it. I don't know why they fucking slipped my mind. That's coming out in like April or May.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm excited about that too, but I don't know that I'm as excited as I am for Resident Evil 8. Village, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I dived into. I was after playing the Maiden demo, I really had a hankering for playing something scary, right? And I've had my eye on the Dark Pictures Anthology, Medan for a while, and I know that reviews were very mixed about it. I think IGN gave it a 7. I don't know what it has on Rotten Tomatoes. Long story short, this is from the makers of Until Dawn, and they have this thing called the Dark Pictures Anthology. I want to talk a little bit about it because it's really interesting. So the first game, there's 2 out now. Little Hope was the one that came out afterwards, and that got better reviews than Man of Medan, which is crazy because Man of Medan is so good. I love this game, man. It was so good. And I think that this is a kind of game that would be really fun to play, like co-op. And they're doing a lot of interesting things with this. And on the surface, it may not really appear that way, but they are. They're doing a lot of really interesting things with this series. So they have this character in the game called the Curator. And you don't really know who he is, but he's very well dressed, and his clothes are very fitting. Like, it fits him. He looks very intelligent. He's got an English accent, and he's very proper. And he's like, well, "Welcome to my whatever, my dungeon or my library, my study." And he says, you're going to get to make decisions. And this is almost become like a gimmick with games, but they're doing it for real though in this game. They like really, there's so many different endings in this game. Different characters survive, and they're like, so your choices are going to have effects, and throughout the game as you play it, like in Until Dawn. No, you remember like in Until Dawn, like how you could see like some sort of little thing, and it would be like, this is something that may or may not happen depending on your choices. And it's like a little snippet. It's like literally like a 3-second snippet that's like all distorted. So like as you're playing Man of Medan, now it kind of takes place on this ghost ship or this ship or whatever from World War II. There's a whole big story behind it. I don't want to spoil it for you. I mean, you might even want to try it. It's so good. But you look at these paintings, and then they're called, I don't know if they're called relics or what are they called, premonitions maybe, and your character will look at it, and you as the gamer will see like a 3-second like clip of like maybe somebody dying in your group. You're like, oh shit. That way, like when you get close to that moment, you know that your choices are going to be you got to be spot on with what you got to think about things. So the goal, quick synopsis of how it starts. It starts with like 4 or 5 characters, right? And they're going on a treasure hunt. They're deep sea diving. They limited experience. They're like college age, maybe their early 20s, and they're all buddy. And like some of the normal tropes from like a scary movie aren't really as obvious as they were in this as they were with Until Dawn. Where Until Dawn, like the characters like, oh, we have the nerdy one, we have the real buff guy, and then we have like the really sexy girl, and then we have like the, I don't know, like the punk rock guy or the emo guy, or like, then we have like the brat. Like this, like you don't have it's not as tropey as that. So like these characters just seem like regular people, and you get to control them throughout the game. Then there's deep sea dive, storm rolls through. Long story short, they end up on this scary boat, and it all works very well. But every hour and a half or 2 hours, it takes you out of the game, and now you as the gamer are listening to the dude, the guy I was talking about, I forget what his name was, what I said he was. I don't remember what the fuck he was called. But you're talking to that guy, the British guy, and he's like, you've done very well so far. Surprisingly, everybody's still alive. It could have been much different, you know. And he's talking to you and stuff, and he's leafing through books and stuff, and he's all prim and proper. And he goes, I can give you a hint if you want, to kind of let you know what's going on. And you don't know if he's trustworthy, right? So you have options to say, yeah, tell me what, you know, give me an idea. And I opted for that. And it was really cryptic and vague what he had to say, you know. He's like, not all is what it seems to be in this story. And you're like, oh, all right. And I was just fucking glued to the TV playing this game. It was so good. Dude, this game is so awesome. I don't know why, like, it got mixed reviews, because I really enjoyed it. And unfortunately, two people in my party died. One was so preventable. It was like one of those QuickTime events where you have to mash a button. And usually I can do that. But they also have QuickTime events in this game where, like, you have to, like, hit the X button in rhythm with your heart to, like, so to keep your calm. So you're like, do-do, do-do. And you gotta hit it. Well, like, maybe there's like a monster or something in the area, and you're just trying to like hold your breath, and your people are like trying to be. So if you fuck that up, like it'll notice you. And like there's quick times like where you're like trying to run away and jump over stuff. You have to hit the circle button or the triangle button. They throw different things at you. You gotta almost like Heavy Rain or something. But the graphics are amazing in this game. They're so good. It's not like it is a game, but it's not like a game. It's more of a story. But anyway, so I had a situation at the very end of the game. This character who I thought was going to die the whole game, I got him to this point. And like he was like, I was literally like 5 minutes from the end of the game, like 5 minutes, and this guy would have lived. And it flashed like the square button, and I go boom, and I knew I hit it. And then I was like, oh fuck, I'm supposed to mash it, and like I didn't mash it in time, and he died because of that. And there's no going back. You can play it again, but there's no going back. Like whatever happens, happens. It was such a great experience. Now the cool thing about Man and Medan and the Dark Pictures Anthology that I recognize that they can do is that you can play online with a friend, right? So your perspective influences your choices. So as a single player, you can play alone. You get the whole picture of the whole game as it moves. You get to see every little piece of the puzzle unfold. But if you play online with somebody, the person you're playing with doesn't necessarily see what you're doing as a character, but they intersect. So to give you another brief example, like you're down in the ocean, you're deep sea diving with your partner or something, looking for this treasure, right? And if you're playing single player, you know that while you're down in the ocean, because it cuts to this other scene where I'm playing now as a different character, and then there's a boat that comes on board, and like some guys, they're nasty, mean-looking dudes or something. You know, this is on your regular boat you start the game off with, and you don't know what the fuck's happening, but you know that these guys are on the boat, and then it'll smash cut back down to the divers. So now you're divers, and you're trying to surface up, but you're trying not to get the bends, right? You got to surface at a slower rate, but then you see this explosion on the boat. And you're like, fuck, do we just go? Do we go now? Because like maybe someone's dying, maybe they're getting attacked or whatever, or do we not? Right? That's another choice. Like you could just, we got to look out for us. So I chose let's look out for us. And by the time I got to the top, you realize that they're just like barbecuing on the fucking boat, and like there was like the gas blew the thing over. But like, so playing that online with somebody, like probably you would experience like the barbecue, but someone else might be underwater thinking that you're getting fucking killed or your boat's exploding and like hurt themselves because they act. So it's all about the perspective that you're playing. So I think as a two-player game, man, this game would be so awesome, because I guess when you play it two players, you're not actually exposed to all of this. Or one player, playing it single player, you're not exposed to all of the scenes. Like they've created additional scenes to play it two-player, to create more of that different perspective thing. So, man, this game is awesome, dude. It's $10 on the PSN. You should just get it. We'll play it two-player. It'd be so fucking cool. They did a thing called Friend Pass where, like, I don't think it's active now, where you could invite somebody just to download the demo. Like, you could download the demo. I would give you the Friend Pass, and then we could play it online together. I don't think that's an option right now. We could try it. I don't think the Friend Pass is a thing right now, but we could try it. You could download the demo, and we could see if we can make it work. But dude, I want Little Hope so bad now. But I might wait a little bit. I don't know.
Well, now that you spoiled one of the choices, I don't think
then
I need
we'll
to play
win
it anymore.
We'll win at that part. Come on. There's so many situations like that, though. I would just be curious to see where you take some of these characters. There are many. There's an option if there's a character in the very beginning of the game. You have a choice to do one thing or the other, and at the very beginning of the game, and the decision you make is whether or not he's with your party for the other like 7 hours or 5 hours, however long this thing is. It's not very long, and I made the choice where he wasn't part of the party. And then, like, I was watching reviews of this, and they were showing scenes of this guy that was no longer in my group, like, this fucking crazy shit going on. I was like, man, I almost want to play this thing again, but I think I would have more fun playing it with somebody. So I think it's really... And you can do couch co-op with this, too. And the whole group can, like, sit and make... You and Sarah probably have a blast playing this game. You each have a controller, and you each get to make decisions. You pass the controller. I think you're supposed to pass the controller or something. Dude, it looks awesome. It's so good. And I bet you Little Hope is so good, too. Oh, man. Especially if they said it's better than Man of Medan, because it was so good. I let the reviews turn me off from this, but don't be fooled. This game is fantastic.
It's kind of interesting. Part of me wonders... In the last couple of years, I've really started to wonder...
About the reviews?
Whether or not I should really take a lot of stock in the way that main games outlets are reviewing video games. And I'm not coming at this as like a fucking fake news conspiracy angle.
Come at me, bro.
Like that. I'm just thinking like, especially with my experience with Immortals, I'm like, this game is not a 7.5. I don't understand.
Yeah. What do they want?
Why people are thinking that. Like if this game had come out, a couple years ago or something like that, everyone would have fucking given it, it's like just because it's, I don't understand it at all. And like you said, every single review I've read about Man of Medan is like, it's mediocre.
Like, meh.
And
dude, it's so good. It's so good. It's so fun. I had such a good time with it.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, definitely worth $10 in my opinion. Definitely. Hands down. Easy purchase. And I have complete faith in Little Hope now, especially since it got better reviews. I don't know why Man of Medan got such bad reviews. I mean, it's not like a game, you know what I mean? It's a story like Until Dawn, where you're not hacking and slashing and you're not doing other crazy stuff in it, but you're walking around, you're picking up things, you're finding artifacts, you find weapons here and there, and there's plenty of choices you make that actually have an outcome on what happens in this fucking game. Not just on the ending, but like the paths. I mean, it's so good. Anyways, hey, upcoming PS5 games per Push Square. So these are the PS5 games coming up in January and February. I'm just going to go over these. I'm not going to go over all the games here. PS4 games. This was an interesting list. So Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends and Secret Fairy, coming out January 26th. Cyber Shadow, January 26th. And if you head to the PlayStation blog, you can read a nice little interview with the one-man studio behind Cyber Shadow. It wasn't technically a one-man studio. It started off as a one-man studio project, but then he brought other people involved. And I forget what the game company is that got involved with the Shovel Knight guys. Oh, man.
Yacht Club.
Yeah, Yacht Club's involved with this game. Pedestrian comes out January 29th. Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends, Secret Fairy, January 29th. UK. Okay, so the US version is the 26th. All right, February, we have Control Ultimate Edition on the PS5, February 2nd. That game interests me. Destruction All-Stars, finally coming out February 2nd as well. Werewolf, The Apocalypse, Earthblood on the PS5 February 4th, and the Neo Collection on PS5 is coming out February 5th. So out of those games, Cyber Shadow looks really awesome, and Control interests me. I'm sure it's going to run really well on the PS5. So,
yeah, Control is one of those games I've always wanted to play. Remedy makes cool games. I mean, I didn't play Quantum Break, but Alan Wake was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I never played it.
So I really wanted to play Control. I just heard it just ran like absolute dog shit on PS4. So I never really got around to it, but if it runs good on PS5, I definitely would be interested in playing it for sure.
Yeah, dude. All right. Well, hey, I think that's it for the show. So, as always, typically the music at the end of the show is getting hit with copyright, right? So I've been excluding it from the podcast thing, from the video podcast. Make sure you guys tune into our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tune into the podcast on your favorite platform. But I'm going to actually put this track on the video podcast. Now, we don't have to sit here while the song plays, Jake. I'll put it in post. That way the people who watch on YouTube should be able to watch it. But if YouTube says, hey, there's a copyright issue or whatever, I'll just have them trim it the fuck out. So, but I'm going to try to put it on because, I'm putting it on the show for a reason, and I'm putting the music on the show for a reason. So hopefully we don't get stricken with a it doesn't affect our channel. It's just they won't let us monetize it. We can't monetize it until we have 1,000 subscribers anyway. So we have 948 people left that need to subscribe before it even really affects us. So that probably won't happen for a long time. But as always, we are going to conclude the show with a song. And the song is, as mentioned in the beginning, is the closing track today is from the band Dende. That's capital D -ENDE. And the song is titled Prayer Song. And you can find more about Dende at, now this is a funny address. Just write it down, folks. https://www.facebook.com/d-ende-1033391246029999. That's where you can find out about them. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the song. Like I said, Carl's a good friend of mine. They must not have like a legit Facebook or Bandcamp or anything, but go check them out on Facebook, like them, check it out if you like whatever. But dude, that's all I have for the show. Jake, are you good?
Yeah, the only other thing that I forgot to bring up is last week you were talking about how there was an Indiana Jones game coming out, and you didn't tell me, maybe you didn't know this, but it's being developed by Machine Games.
Oh, I did say that.
If you did, I didn't hear you or I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
but I didn't fucking know that Machine Games was making it, because it's so weird. Like, why would they give this to the fucking Wolfenstein developer? Like, it's going to be bizarre. It might not even be on PlayStation, so I don't know that I really care all that much, but it's just interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. And also I want to list a quick correction. I believe when we were talking about Returnal, you said it was a first-person game. Isn't Returnal third-person?
I never said it was a first-person game.
I think you said first-person by accident.
I don't even recall talking about the perspective of Returnal.
When we most certainly did. Yes.
No, I said it was the next game coming out.
That's the only
thing I said about it.
I'm gonna find the clip and put it up.
You go ahead and find it, and then you put it in here right now at this part of the video. Yeah. You put it right where my fucking fingers are, and I will eat crow if I said that.
What will you do?
Next week, I will eat crow if I did actually say that.
What's that mean? Eat crow?
It means like own up to it.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, I'm gonna make you eat crow because I know you said it. I know you did. So, anyways, it is a third person.
I might have.
All right.
I don't even remember what we talked about today, so it could be true.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut the video right here, and we're gonna watch Jake say the Returnal is third person. Here we go. Pause.
Housemarque style combat. I mean, it's a first-person shooter, which.
There you have it. I'm that confident that he said it.
Okay.
All right. Hey, we're going to let you guys go. So thanks a lot for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're a returning visitor, we thank you for listening to us and joining us for our PlayStation Talks. We have a good time doing this. So like Resident Evil, RBI Baseball, and Rainbow Skies. P.S. This is awesome.
Once upon a flood we were adrift, not knowing if the rain or wind would in our lifetime resend. And come the day of Waterland, out in the mud our toe we struck against a rock. We cursed and cussed, yet never good. There's a thick fog rolling in over the southern sea. Mountain peak where we was our home, only then to wander 40 more. Heavy fast and deep our hole, where God nor man has ever seen the shore. Me was a small village corridor where I first heard the strum of a troubadour, setting free the stars above and unknown galaxies within. Death we have ousted, the devils we have lost. Draw them far forever. We've swept away the sea and made mountains out of them. There's a big fog rolling in over the southern sea. From this mountain peak where we've learned to breathe, we sing a prayer for growing weak. Though not ready, we are willing to step in your waters, licking at the soles of our feet. Time